I think you find that in the law enforcement profession, you can't help but sort of see
Mm.
the world a little differently. There's this repetitiveness of sort of the same people, the same types of people, the same problems over and over again. All of a sudden, it does sort of skew, jade the way you see the world.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I remember that, I was a new agent. I've been in about 5 years when you mentioned 9/11 earlier,
Mm.
and I was in Richmond. And so when the Pentagon was hit on 9/11, I was part of the evidence response team out of Richmond.
Wow.
And you can imagine we're trying to draw as many resources as possible. And so by the morning of September 12th, while the Pentagon is still smoking, fire department still trying to put out a little bit of the fire, we roll in to start doing our work in the recovery and the evidence gathering. And since we're talking a little bit about brain health, that might
Mm.
have been the first time that uh, I really felt like my brain health was being affected. And it's just one example of what I know other law enforcement officers face on a
Mm.
regular basis. But because of you seeing the trauma before you, the results of the horrific act, and you're in and day out for
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks, and all of a sudden, the feelings of being overwhelmed, and sort of that despair and uncertainty, it just really starts playing on you. And uh, I remember as I look back now, going, that was a major event. Obviously, we all experienced
Yeah.
9/11 and the after effects, but for me, having been right there and sifting through ashes and remains, so forth,
Mm.
yeah, that was a moment I'll probably never forget.
And I
Yeah.
think we don't pay enough credence to that for the emergency services, the
Mhm.
police forces, and also the people that are involved in that incident, who are victims of the incidents as well, and really acknowledging that people need time to decompress,
That's right.
much the same way we do from a military perspective, is people need the time, but they also need the tools to help
Yeah.
them decompress, because time isn't a healer for trauma. It can often exacerbate it. It's much like leaving a broken leg,
Yeah.
and hoping that time will heal it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way,
That's right. That's
and it
right.
certainly doesn't work that way from an emotional trauma, a mental trauma, or a spiritual trauma. In terms of losing your job, if you will,
Mhm.
losing your sense of purpose. That can be traumatic, particularly with COVID. Um, is we need to equip people with the right tools,
Mhm.
so that they have that opportunity to heal as soon as possible after the experience.
It's great about your podcast here, your video cast, that sharing these ideas and understandings around brain health, because yeah, we definitely need it. Because if you didn't grow up with it, if you didn't invest yourself in studying it, you may be like me, you didn't fully appreciate it and appreciate
Yeah.
the tools that are available for us.